Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast here on Nighthawk Radio. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. And thank you guys for subscribing. To check out Nighthawk Radio, go to nighthawk-radio.com. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube Music, Rumble, everywhere you find good podcasts. We're blessed enough to have a legend as a guest tonight. Keith Age, how are you doing tonight, man?
Where's the legend?
Oh, right there, man.
This makes me feel so old. Thank you very much.
I mean, I ain't even gonna go
I thought we were buddies, man. I tell you.
there. You're still a legend, though.
Man, I'm just me. Like to have fun. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
man.
just
That's what we're gonna have tonight, man. Have fun during this interview. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule, man, to be on.
anytime, buddy. Anytime I can. You know that.
Absolutely,
If I don't fall down again.
man. So you've been having some paranormal experiences at your home right now.
Little bit. My best buddy had traveled all over the country with me for years. We played music together, you name it. Uh, name was John Tincher. And he died suddenly a couple of years ago during an investigation at the Hannah House. And we've had a few things happen. I mean, we know there's some stuff here that's been happening when we first moved into this house 3 years ago, almost four now. And we can hear people talking and, and can't hear what they're saying, but you can hear them talking. And we've caught a few things like, and then I was going to bed one night. I come in from the back room. I was going to the bedroom. I was walking down the hallway, and there was a voice directly behind me that goes, "Good night." And I turned around ready to punch. So, me being the ex cop that I am, I went and got my gun and I cleared the house. Nothing here. So that's when we start setting up recorders. And we've picked up, like I said, a few things. You can hear children talking. We can hear some names. And then somebody said was talking to somebody named John. Well, that was my buddy's name, John. And then after that, all of a sudden in the family room, we're sitting there watching TV, and money just drops from the ceiling. You know, at first it was just a few, coins, nothing old, fairly new. And I was thinking, okay. And then we got this nail, a screw nail type thing that's about that long. And I was like, I've never seen nothing like this. Well, John could build anything, wood, electrical, he could do it all. And, this was used in some type of construction. Now, our house was built in 1954, so nothing has been going on at that point. And then a couple nights later, $4 or $5 worth of change just fell out of the ceiling. And me and Robin, my wife, about jumped out of our skins because it was loud, very loud. And then right before John had died, he borrowed $5 from me to get lunch where he's doing something. And I was like, "John, this is you, buddy. Instead of sending me change and coins, give me my $5 back." And a couple hours later, there was a $5 bill laying on the ground. Now, I don't carry hardly any cash with me whatsoever anymore. And so we were just like, wow, okay. And then a couple nights later, I was sitting there and we heard somebody talking, but we couldn't tell what they were saying, who they were talking to. And so I picked up one of these Zoom recorders and set it next to me and turned it on. And John and I had a code word that we used, whether we were talking about girls, women, music, and I only used it with him. And few people had heard us say it, but it was just a buddy word between the two of us. And all of a sudden, that word gets whispered in my ear, and I about come up off the chair, and I went, "Wow!" So then I said, "John, man, this is you. Do it again." I turned the recorder on at that point, and 10 minutes later, it got recorded, and it's that same word. So I didn't tell him what it was about, but I sent it to his sister and uh, his best buddy that they worked together and everything, and they were like, "Oh my God, that's John." And the girl that played music with us and everything, I sent it, and that was his female best friend. I sent it to her, and she just broke out in tears. She goes, "That's John, because I've heard you two say that word between each other, because I've never heard anybody else say it or anything." So we think whatever is here is something, and then maybe else John Tincher. So hopefully it is.
And you said you've experienced the coins being dropped in another location as well, right?
Yeah, that was at the Whispers Estate. We were filming there for Bourbon Spirits, our new series. And we were in the parlor with a little girl burned. She didn't die in there, but she pretty much burned herself up in the parlor in the early 1900s. And she caught herself on fire from the Christmas tree that had burning candles on it, and couldn't get out of the room. And we were sitting there filming and doing an interview, and all of a sudden we capture money just dropping from the ceiling, and old money, like one was 1890 something a penny, and then one was a 1910 dime, and a nickel, a few other things. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but it would hit the ground, and instead of just dropping and crashing to the floor, several of them hit the floor and it started rolling towards us. So yeah, that's the only other place I've had that happen.
Crazy though.
Oh yeah.
Well, let's talk about that series, man. It's called Bourbon Spirits, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And
When will that be coming up?
hopefully next year it'll be on the Alternative Realm uh, channel on YouTube Premium, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's about bourbon and ghosts, and Kentucky's full of it. And I'm only in it at the beginning and at the end. Got a little young lady by the name of Shannon Edens Humphrey. She has her own team, and they do the investigating, and then they present it to me at the end. But we've gotten to go some cool places.
Did you go to Bardstown?
Oh, not really. We went to several other places in uh, Kentucky, and then also one in Illinois, which is the Roth House, which is what I filmed and was the first one to investigate on film, the Wasika Wonder. And we actually got to go there and investigate. And didn't really capture anything except for two things, and they're pretty awesome. So I can't tell you what they are until we get them out on the screen. But yes, it's pretty cool. And then got to Raw's Opera House in Cynthiana, Kentucky. You know where that is.
Yes, sir. I've been there one time, man. I love that place though.
Oh yeah, so do I. And it doesn't fail to deliver something. We got some great thermal stuff. You got something behind you gonna sneak up on you
Yeah, ghost, bro.
on the beach.
On the
Ghost on.
beach, yeah. Hey, man, if you're a ghost, that'd be the best place to be on the beach.
Not if you're cold and it's hot.
That's true.
People could see you too easily at that point. You're freezing, and there'd be some serious steam coming up somewhere.
And you had experience on Halloween night, man.
Well, like I was telling you, I've been trying to get into Buffalo Trace whiskey distillery for almost 30 years, and this was the first Halloween I was going to get off in almost 25 years, and I was going to enjoy giving candy out to the kids and stuff, and that didn't happen. 4 days before the weekend before, they called and said, "Would you like to ghost hunt on Halloween night?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay." And they took us to some places that they don't take the public to on the tours that they give. And some of the oldest buildings on the property. It's 450 acres plus on the property. And then the original house is still there from 1792. So we got to go to that and a warehouse and a few other places. It's pretty interesting. Actually caught something, and we had they had a winner from all over the country that did a contest, and we put on a Zoom recorder and some heads and a headset, something like this. And the building where we're in was actually a house that was built in the 40s, but the guy who built it is also considered the man who modernized uh, Buffalo Trace, but it was called something else back then. And as we're sitting there, we can hear somebody walking above us. You hear the footsteps plain and clear. And then when she put that on, this woman about died. She's like, "Oh my God." And then one of the tour guides that was with us, he was sitting in a chair by a window and something knocked on the window. And he about, I mean, he literally jumped out of his chair halfway across the room and just turned pale. So we went outside and looked. There's nothing near the window that could have knocked. And, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. There wasn't nobody around because the plant and everything's on the other side of the compound.
That's
Oh,
insane, though. You got to investigate that place.
oh yeah. And hopefully we'll get to go back and do an episode of Bourbon Spirits there because that's the place I wanted to go to at the very beginning when we first started it. And back then, whoever was in charge of the PR, which is a totally different people now, they just said, "Nope, ain't happening. We ain't gonna do it." And that was the end of it. And then, like I said, then just lucky they called me and said, "Hey, you want to do this?"
I mean, that literally fits perfect with bourbon spirits.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Plus, like I said, it's been there since 1792. Plenty of people got hurt and died there, so it definitely fits.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite location in Kentucky, man?
In Kentucky,
Yes, sir.
Ross is right up there on top. Ross Opera House, and you know, not only does it deliver, I mean, there's sometimes when you don't get nothing, but most of the time it delivers something. And not only you'll learn if you've been doing this long enough, you you make connections with the owners and people like that, so that helps a whole lot. And Roger Slade, who runs it, has become a really good friend of mine in the last 20 years, who runs it and everything. You know, uh, so when you get to spend a little time with friends and then also investigate, and that place is huge anyway. You basically have 3 floors. You've got the old opera house, which is still there, you know, up in the 3rd floor. Then you got the 2nd floor, which is the projection room and the meeting room. And then you got, uh, actually, then you've got the theater itself. and it's can seat I think 250, 300 people, and it's still in operation. And then you've got the basement area, which is the dressing rooms and stuff like that, which is like you're walking into something from the 1800s. And the cool thing about this, like I said, not only is the place itself, but there's history. And a lot of people don't know it, but Cynthiana, Kentucky is the birthplace of The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead, is from Cynthiana, Kentucky. And the original books and everything, it the comics and stuff, it was set in Cynthiana, not Georgia. And and on the side of the theater, there's a 100-foot by 40-foot mural of Rick Grimes, Carl Grimes, Michonne, and Daryl Dixon. It's huge, you know, and they really celebrate the fact that The Walking Dead's from there.
I didn't even know that, man. That's cool though.
Oh yeah. Well, when Kirkman hit it big with The Walking Dead, he donated money to the city, and he also donated money to Ra's Opera House because that is where, as a he would go on Saturdays and watch movies all day long. So he donated a whole new projection system, sound system, lights, you know, everything. And it really looks nice now.
Yeah. Hey, man, without talking about the Opera House, we cannot go without mentioning the Lady in White, man.
The Lady in White
Yes, sir.
at the opera. Never seen her, never got anything, but you know, if like I said, if you go back to the history of this, my God, Houdini played there. You know, and there's all these newspaper clippings from the early 1900s of famous people who were there, and we got some thermal with what looks like someone in a female pharaoh's headset. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, and got it on the stage, and we were just, and then as we were going back to the lobby, they had in the 1920s a production of Cleopatra there at the Opera House. So we're just like, whoa, this is pretty interesting here. And
Yeah.
that's the same actress who supposedly Lady in White. Supposedly. I'm still waiting for her to go, hi, my name is.
Eh.
Did you
What's the
see
story behind the Lady in White, though?
did you see my play 150 years ago? No, sorry.
Eh. But why is like she trapped there, man?
Who knows? Like I said, I've never seen her. We've caught shadow people in the balcony area, the second story, which is where they had a fire at one time. And, now it's used for serving drinks in that area. And I took an actor with me. I can't say his real name. I can't say his stage name either. Let's just say he's really famous. And he's been ghost hunting with me for almost 20 years now, off and on. And he he had a Zoom with headphones on, walking around with it. And him, his wife, and about four other people were upstairs in the old opera house. And he's like, come flying down those steps to me. And he's like, dude, you got to listen to this, dude. And he plays it back. I hear people talking. And out of nowhere, like I said, I didn't tell anybody his real name. Robin knew it and she was there, but she wasn't anywhere around. And you hear a voice say, oh, look, such and such is here. And say his real name. He about died. So there's got some pretty interesting stuff there through the years.
That's showing some intelligent spirits too, man.
Oh, yeah. Tell somebody's real name? that, I don't know because he was an actor and famous or what, but yeah, cool.
Was that like 20 years ago, or did that happen here recently?
Happened maybe 10 years ago.
I was just wondering because Google and all that. Yeah, because say somebody the like a spirit was there and the spirit like died like here recently, it probably like Googled his name before and probably seen him on movies and stuff.
He Googled him, huh?
Yeah, but I mean when they was alive, when they was alive.
Well, I mean, they still put on plays and stuff there. As far as I know, no one has died the last 10 years or so. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he's been acting for almost 30 years now. And, if I said his name, you go, oh, wow. Uh, let's just say he was a actor on The Walking Dead. We'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah, with all the Walking Dead connections to Cynthiana, that's probably why.
Well, what was funny was we when we went there on a Saturday, and we were going in after uh, the movie stopped. And when you go in, you got a long hallway, which is where they have the concession area leading into the theater. And uh, not Robin Williams, but the remake with Will Smith about the genie, Aladdin, that was playing. It had just come out that week, and him and I were just leaning up against the wall, and people were filing out because it was full. And people were filing out, and they were just looking us up and down, and recognizing him. And he would just stand there with leg up on the wall and arms folded and what saying hi, And when people would stop and smile at him and stuff, and the town is kind of used to some of the people from The Walking Dead being there off and on. Uh, Robert Kirkman, who has a huge hotel there. We were there earlier that day, and people were freaking out. And so we're just standing there, and finally the crowd goes out the doors, and this young lady comes back through the opening and comes back in, just stops in front of him, and she starts to say stuff, and then she passes out. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to have an ambulance here and everything. And then he knelt down to make sure she was okay. And then she came to again, looked at him, and out she went again. I was like, oh my God, great. This is going to be so much fun. So that was the start of our ghost hunt that night.
I got a pretty cool question for you, man. Has anybody ever recognized you in public?
Oh, yeah. I went to, you know what Dragon Con is?
No, sir.
There's about 90,000 people show up at this thing. It's in Georgia. And right after The Possessed, which was our third documentary, was released, so we're talking 2009, 2010, uh, I was standing outside smoking a cigarette, and this guy walked up, and I thought he was dressed like Jackman Van Helsing. Had the cowboy hat, the black leather long coat, and he walked up to me outside and stuck his hand out. I shook it and I said, "Cool Van Helsing, man, like it." And he went, "No." I was like, "Oh, you're not Van Helsing?" He goes, "No." I said, "Okay, who are you?" And he goes, "I'm you, man. I heard you were coming." I was like, "Oh, wow." So that's probably the biggest one, but I get recognized a lot. Uh, but they're going, "Your beard's gray." I said, "Yeah, those documentaries and stuff we made was about, you know, 20 years ago." and you get older. So yeah, I do get recognized. You know, the hard part, my kids had a time dealing with it, was when you get recognized in a restaurant trying to eat, and they want to talk and take pictures, and my daughter used to get so mad, and she's like, can't even have dinner without people coming up and bothering you. I said, look, those people just paid for your dinner. Hush, you know. I said, I'm not gonna turn somebody away just because they recognize me. So yeah, I get recognized.
What's the weirdest item you've signed, man?
What's the weirdest what?
Item that you have signed before, like at a con or something.
Oh Lord. Uh just a lot of things that people make. Somebody brought a vacuum cleaner to me once. They said it's a Ghostbuster. Uh, things like that. The the one of the weirdest things, and people are like, "So you're supposed to be a tough biker, huh?" And I was like, "Well, I am a biker," and they've actually swung on me. And up in Dayton, Ohio, one year I had to take on four guys, and uh, I'll throw hands if I have to. And I got three of them, and before the fourth one could come near me, a buddy of mine, been a friend for a long time, his name is Big Jim Jones out of Maryland, and he was there like right across from me, and he's actually an active cop and has arrest powers and everything else. And I went to look for the fourth person, and next thing I know, Big Jim Jones is about 6'9", about 280, 300 pounds. And he's got the guy by the back of the neck and just holding him up in the air. And he goes, I got him. And he starts handcuffing him, called the police. And, then that wasn't the only time things like that have happened. Uh, and of course, uh, also in Ohio, I was doing a gig with Kane Hodder. And Kane Hodder is, correct?
No, sir.
Friday the 13th, Jason, he played him 5 times. He's the most beloved Jason character. His last one he did was uh, Jason Goes to Outer Space, number 10. And he's also into ghost hunting. And he was right next to me. And we have a lot of people will walk up when we're bringing, like I said, we'll bring you stuff. And if she puts this picture down in front of me, it's a dust orb. And she goes, what do you think? And I was like, well, first of all, I wasn't there, so I don't know what exactly you saw and heard. She said, what do you think about the picture? I said, well, hon, actually, it's a dust orb. And she went, that's my dead Aunt Petunia. And I went, stood up to explain to her about the flash and dust, show her, look, she has a face in it. It's called a nuclei. And as I was bending over, I felt up. And I went, what the hell? Looked down, and I've got a 2-inch by 8-inch knife sticking in my chest. She's mad over me telling her it wasn't her dead Aunt Petunia, it was a dust orb. So I went to actually swing, and she jammed that thing all the way into my arm socket, and I couldn't move my arm. And so I ended up swinging with my right arm and put her down. And I'm sitting there trying to pull this knife out. Kane comes up, kicks my feet out from under, and says, sit your ass down, boy. Are you stupid or what? And he's like, leave it alone. Called the cops, ambulance. She just got out of prison for attempted murder. So, is that weird enough for you?
That's crazy.
And people, oh, so that's why you don't like orbs. I'm like, no. Reason why I don't care for orbs, I am a photography major, and you can recreate it. If you can recreate it, it's not paranormal in nature.
I don't think I would like orbs either, man. After
Well,
that situation.
out of the hundreds of thousands of pictures I've taken, I'll tell you, I got one orb picture that I just cannot explain. And that was at Waverly Hills in the early 2000s. And all of a sudden, dead in front of us, there's this ball of light, and it lit up stairwell. And this is before there was ever any power there whatsoever. And I got up here and shot it. It's on 35 millimeter film, no flash, no nothing. And you can see it, but it's not a complete circle. It's giving off light. There's no nuclei in it. And, you know, I'm like, what the hell? And it looks like a bell when the picture. And you can see everything lit up. The glass in the windows and stuff is all broke. So it's not a reflection. But like I said, the whole stairwell was lit up. And so I'll say, okay, that's one orb I got on photo. And then later on, a couple of years later, I was given a tour and of about 15 people. And we walked up the third floor and we walked through the doors. And all of a sudden, this ball of light just come out into the hallway and stops. And it just floating there. Well, I'm giving a tour to 15 cops. And all I'm hearing behind me is guns being cocked. And I'm between them and the orb. So I'm like, whoa, 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 don't shoot. And this thing just goes off down the hallway. And as it's going down the hallway, makes the turn, it's lighting everything up. So, you know, someone goes, ball lightning. Ball lightning doesn't work that way, you know. And this thing was about this big. So, ball lightning is something totally different, and you can feel the electricity in the air when you're close to it, and it does move around, but usually like in a straight line or something like that, not curve around the corner and light up the rest of the hallway, and then get to the end of the hallway and just disappears. So, but yeah, I almost got shot over an orb. I've been stabbed over an orb, so but no, that's not. Those are not the reasons why I don't care for orbs. Like I said, it's just a simple fact. You can recreate it 99.9% of the time. And then I get pictures of people going, "Oh look, this is right next to the cemetery where I live. We were having a big bonfire," and I'm like, "And what are you trying to show me?" And they're like, "All these lost souls," and I went, "It's embers. Give me a break."
I wouldn't like orbs either, though, man. After being stabbed because of a orb,
Well, it wasn't the orb, but it did the stabbing. It's a crazy woman who got
I know
17 in jail.
she's obsessed with orbs, I guess, man.
Dead Aunt Petunia.
That's crazy though, and I don't even know what to say after that story, man. I ain't even gonna lie.
Well, if it had better lighting in here, I'd show you the scar. But yeah,
What's people
it's
say when you tell them that story, man? What's their reaction?
good.
What's that?
Just like that's just so unbelievable. But you know, what are you gonna do? It's hair of the dog that bit you. There's crazies in everything you do, and there are a few out there that just are nuts.
I don't even know what to say, man. Keith Age, I appreciate you being on, brother.
Hey, anytime, partner. Anytime I can, I will.
Absolutely, man. And tell the people about the series that's coming out early next year.
Called Bourbon Spirits, and like I said, it's gonna be on uh, another Realm channel on YouTube Premium. I don't have a date yet. It's still in working on production as far as we've wrapped as far as filming goes for the first season, but edited together right now.
People don't realize how hard editing is, man. It's a pain. Editing is a pain in the you know what.
Don't even try. I'm terrible at it.
It takes a while, man. I couldn't imagine a whole entire season of shows that you got to edit, man. I just edit these little shows we do on here, man. and it's a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie. So I couldn't imagine editing a full series, man.
Luckily, I have a great partner who is an actual filmmaker, and I'm just an armchair filmmaker. I've learned a lot from the Booth brothers, but he's the professional at it. I tell him what I'm trying to get, and then whatever he decides, I've learned one thing: he's the director, he's the boss. I'm the producer and the guy in front of the camera. So I do what he says.
You're a legend, though, man. I want to thank Keith H for being on. I want to thank you guys for listening to Nighthawk Radio. Everybody have a good night and God bless.